Hello, it's been a while for those of you who were watching before. Um, a lot has been going on in my life, but that's besides the point. Ignore that drawing. That's hold on. Ooh, I'm gonna cover it with my hand. Um, yeah. I've been reading. I read a lot of books. I don't remember when the last book review I posted was, but I was living in England at the time of that, and I'm no longer living there. So transitional life stages are occurring. But I just finished a book that I would like to discuss, and this is my platform for discussing books. This and Fable. I will post on Fable occasionally about things. But this is a book that I read. I've been recommended many times because I really thought I would like it. I've had a lot of people recommend this author, Brandon Sanderson, specifically just because I like fantasy books. And this one is a very unique read. I haven't read anything like it, at least not in a while if I have. But it has something that I didn't love, but some people do, and I thought I would make a little opinion piece, a little book review, and see if anyone has any opinions or similar thoughts to me. I'm gonna set it down now, so I'm not just holding a book. I did the thing again where I forget to explain the book and I just jump right into my review. I need to get better at doing this if I want to continue filming these. Okay, from the top, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson is an adventure story filled with pirates and some sort of magic and some interesting environmental factors about a girl named Tress who lives on an island in the Emerald Sea in a land where there are many different seas of many varying colors, and she is kind of spurred into action and is forced to go on an adventure, and it's a cool story written by Brandon Sanderson. It's 400-ish pages in length. So I want it's like 365 or something like that. So close to 400 pages in length. It's a quick read. I would say it's young adult fantasy, sci-fi fantasy, because it's in another universe. It's very well written. The plot is very well developed. And it's a pretty fun read. It took me like 12 days. So the thing I didn't love about it, that some people, I think it divides people greatly, is I didn't like the narration style. And I looked on some reviews on Fable and I saw that like people were either giving it like 5 stars because they loved the narration style and it was so unique and it was so cool, and then some people who were giving it like lower ratings because they also didn't like it like me. So I think, I don't know, it's kind of divisive. Here, let me tell you. Let me compare it. In the epilogue, Brandy Sandy himself, I'm going to call him that, I hope he doesn't mind. Brandy Sandy himself mentions that he kind of wrote it in a very similar style to like The Princess Bride, in which it's being narrated by another character, like kind of if you've seen The Princess Bride, it's like a book that's being read to someone who is sick. And so this is similarly like a story that's being told by another character that's in the story, but he's not really a main character. And in the epilogue, Brandon Sanderson writes that he wants this character to be a more prominent character and maybe a larger series or a different book or something along those lines. I just finished this today and yet here I am not remembering exactly. But like, so it's kind of just a little bit of a setup into this other character, or it's a little test run into this world. This is a very unique world that Brandon Sanderson builds with this one. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better as an audiobook, but reading it in the physical copy, the narration was quite confusing and hard to follow at times. Not like, the writing was great. Like, I enjoyed the book and I read it all the way through. Like, the plot was really cool. I mean, you have a classic, like, hero's journey happening here, which I love that story. I like that trope in a book. But there would be, like, times where I was, like, really getting into the action of the book, and then the narrator would say something, and it would be like, well, I wouldn't have done this, or I would do it like this. And I was like, oh yeah, it's being narrated. Like, you would forget for a while because you put yourself in the mind of this main character, Tress, who I really liked. And then it was like, all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I'm being told this from a secondary perspective. I'm not being told this from her perspective. And it totally would take me out of the book. And there was also this is just because I'm pesky about books. I've said this on this channel before, but I get annoyed by books that try and do humor or try and make jokes with the reader. It takes me out of the book so far. Like, this book did it like very few times where it would break the fourth wall. So it would be explaining something about the physics or the way of the world or the culture of this universe. And then it would be like, you, the reader, in your world would experience something like this, but in this world it's like this. And it would kind of take me out because I'm like, don't talk about me, the reader. Don't talk about my world. What do you know? What, like don't talk about that. I'm fully taken out of it. Like, there's a lot of like science and weirdness going on in this book that's very different than like our planet, and it's like on a different planet that has a different situation going on. So that's fine. But it annoyed me that it would be like, in your world, things aren't like this, but in this world, they are. I'm like, don't take me out of this. And then there would also be like little spoilers. I'm not going to say any of the spoilers, but the narrator would be like, this hasn't happened, but it will happen later in this story. Don't tell me what's going to happen. And I get that that's supposed to be like lighthearted or humorous, or like there's a point of connection that's supposed to be happening there. No, I didn't. Don't spoil what's going to happen later. That's the joy of reading it, is that it's going to happen later, not now. That annoyed me greatly. Like, there was multiple times where I was like, really? Now I know what's coming. And that takes the fun out of it. I like to be surprised in a book. And it's hard to be surprised when the narrator is telling you what's happening. And I think you're supposed to be annoyed at the narrator, which is probably part of the point. But I don't know. And I didn't feel like I got to know the character that was narrating the book all that well, so it didn't make sense as to why that character was narrating the book. But in the epilogue, Brandy Sandy says that he wants to focus more on that character for other things. So I guess that's to come. But my question to the audience that watches this video, which is like 6 people sometimes, I've been recommended this author a lot. The reason I grabbed this book is because it's like a one-off book. There's not more than one yet. So I thought it would be easy because his series are not short. They're not like a quick read. And the people I know who get into Brandon Sanderson only read Brander Sander. They only read his books because there's like 11 books in a series. I'm exaggerating, although I might not be. I don't know. Or like they're reading Mistborn or Way of Kings, and those are not short series, and so it kind of sucks you in, and then you're only reading this guy for like months on end. And his books apparently are very good. Like, I have a friend who read Wheel of Time, and he loved Wheel of Time, but it took him a long time to read all of Wheel of Time. And then the last 3 books, which Brandy Sandy wrote, he said it was like a completely different, he like sped through them. He was like, they were such page turners, you know, it was a different vibe. So I've had high recommendations of Brandon Sanderson in my life. However, after reading this, I'm like, I don't get it. So I'm assuming the other books are different, but I need someone to let me know that they're not going to be the same writing style as this awkward, humorous, strange narrator style thing that I don't really love. That's my review. I think I gave it 3 stars. on Fable. Someone double check that if you care. If you don't. I gave it 3 stars and I wrote my little reason for why, which is exactly what I just said now. I didn't love the narration. It took me out of the book. But I liked the story and I thought it was cute. And I liked it. I mean, I feel like I would give this to... I have some people I think who I would recommend this book to. I have some people who I think would enjoy it more than I did. It's not a bad book. I just couldn't get into it as much as I would have liked to. So that's my little review. I will post another video outlining some of the books that I read in my little break from posting on here. If anyone is interested. I've read a lot. I'm not meeting my reading goal for the year, but I'm going to try.